This is an introduction to exercise 2C on expanding algebraic expressions on page 91 of your textbook. For our do now question, we're simplifying our expressions. First thing I want to do is identify which ones are the same. So of course, I know right now there's an a squared b here. There's also an a squared b here. So they're similar. They're like terms, aren't they? AB and BA, are they the same thing? Why? You're right, they are the same thing. There's no symbol between the A and B. What does that mean? Good. Would you agree that A times B is the same as B times A? Yeah. Same thing. So AB is the same as BA. What if I had A squared B and AB squared? Is that the same thing? Why not?
Because it's A squared B.
Very good. This one would be A times B. This one would be A times B times B. So in our case, if it's just AB, we can switch around. That's fine, doesn't matter. However, if it's A squared, we have to make sure the same pronumeral is kept. Good. So I'm going to rewrite this so that we have 7A squared B. And then I'm going to rewrite the A squared B term on the other side, bless you, to move it to here. Becomes minus 4A squared B. So I've used these two. What's left? Plus AB minus, and I'm going to rewrite this one. Instead of writing 3BA, I'm going to write 3AB. Just makes my life easier. Any questions so far? Okay. So from here, I just simplify. These two are the same factors, so I just look at the number. 7 minus 4 is 3, so that's 3A squared B. And then here, Brody, what's that number right there? There's no number. Well, that's the symbol between here. What's that number right there?
Nothing.
If there's nothing there, it means? It means 1. It means 1. That's what you're going to say, yeah? So it means 1. There's a hidden 1 there. We don't have to write the 1, but we can treat it as is. So 1 minus 3 gives me negative 2 minus 2AB. Done. That's it. So to recap, I identified that these two, the A squared B and A squared B here, are the same, like terms. I've also identified the AB and the BA here are like terms as well. I've just rewritten it so that I've got all the A squared B's on one side and the AB's on the other side. And I just added the coefficients. Any questions? Okay. You have time to practice that today. I'm going to move on to the next section. So, find two different ways to write expressions for the combined area of two rectangles. So, how do I find the area of a rectangle? What's the formula? Come on, we know this. Area of a rectangle. What times what? Length times width. Thank you very much. It's length times width. So, in this case, let's focus on this rectangle here. Yeah, that length is going to be x times by 4. That's the area. Are we happy with that? Yeah. What's the area of this one right here? What's the length? 4. Good. And what do I multiply that by? 2. Very good. So if I was to find the area of the whole rectangle there, I just add them up, right? How do I rewrite x times 4? 4x. Same thing, isn't it? X times 4, 4 times x, same thing, 4x. Good. And then plus 4 times 2, so plus 8. Does that seem fair? Does that process seem okay? Yeah. All I did was find the area of the two rectangles and add them up. But what if I treat it as one big rectangle? If I treat it as one big rectangle, what's the length of this right there? Thank you very much. It's x plus 2, isn't it? So x plus 2. The width would be 4, so I'd multiply that by 4. You might want to rewrite it as 4 at the front. Same thing. Now I've included the brackets because we're multiplying both the x and the plus 2 by 4. X plus 2 by 4, not just 4x and then plus 2. We're multiplying everything. Now, if you've been in a class in previous years, you may remember this as what I call like the Oprah rule, right? If you're up here, you multiply that, and then you also multiply that. It's not just the first one, you multiply everything. So, I'm going to say 4 times by the x, that's the first one. That gives me 4x. And then the 4 times the positive 2 is, of course, positive 8. And you'll notice, same answer. Yeah? So when we're expanding, the key part is that if it's in the front, we multiply everything inside by that number, not just the front. This is the written formula for that. Can I get everyone to write down these words for me? Distributive law, and then this wording here. All good, Gabe? Distributive law. A term outside the brackets is multiplied by each term inside the brackets. That's all that means. If it's in the front, we multiply everything inside by it. If it's in the front, or if we're multiplying, we multiply everything by it. We'll do 2 examples and then let you continue on with exercise 2A and 2B. Am I going through the content a little bit too quickly right now? Okay. If you are curious, this right here is a formula for it. You don't have to write that down. It's just a general formula. But it just means if it's in the front, we multiply everything inside by it. And so you'll see you get A times B plus A times C. Don't have to write that down. That's just a general formula. I'm going to pick a trickier one for us to do, and we'll put it into practice. On the right hand side, B, it says that negative 2x bracket 4x minus 3. Let's say I want to get rid of the brackets. What's that symbol between there, the x and the bracket?
One. Over.
If there's no symbol, of course it just means times. Thank you very much. It means times. I appreciate you saying something. It's just times. So right now it's negative 2x times everything inside the bracket. So because of my rule, I'm going to multiply these two first, and then I'm going to multiply these two afterwards. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do, negative 2x times 4x. Negative 2 times 4, of course, is just negative 8. X times x, what's that? What's x times x? X squared, thank you very much. And then finally, I multiply these two here. Right, these two. Negative 2x times negative 3. It's two negatives, which makes it positive. 2x times 3 is positive 6x. Any questions? Okay, last example, then we'll move on. Expand the following and collect like terms. We're going to do the exact same thing. Chris, again, what's the symbol between here? The symbol between the 2 in the bracket?
Oh,
It's not written.
positive? Oh, times.
Positive, good, but it's also times, right? So I'm going to leave the 4 alone, and I'm going to say it's negative 2 times by, you can see it times by the y. So I'm going to write negative 2y. And a lot of students make this mistake, okay? They're going to write, well, it's 2 times by the negative 1, so it's minus 2. Why is that wrong? Why is that wrong? Two times negative 1 is negative 2. But are we timesing by the 2? What are we timesing by? We're timesing by the negative 2. Okay, so we're taking into consideration, again, the negative in the front. So that becomes negative 2 times by negative 1, which should be positive 1. Is there anything here that's easy for us to collect together? Like terms, anything that's similar for easy for us to put together?
2 and 4.
2 and the 4, thank you very much. 4, I'm going to move it to the right hand side, so we end up with negative 2y plus 2 plus 4, which is just negative 2y plus 6, and that would be our answer. Any questions? Okay.